Hello. So what I'd like to do today is to go ahead and cover my take on whether or not I feel that sites like DK Oldies or Lukie Games or something comparable is worth your time if you're purchasing retro video games. And if you go to a lot of different websites, forums, groups, what have you, you're going to see a lot of people on there who are saying, hey, never buy from these guys. They're so ridiculously overpriced. You're never going to get a good deal there. Avoid them at all costs. And then you're going to see, occasionally, you'll see the person who comes in there that sticks up for them and says, hey, these sites are going to guarantee your authenticity so you don't end up, spending a bunch of money and turning out that you ended up with a reproduction game, or that you have a game that burns out after just a month or two and you're stuck because you purchased it from a place that doesn't offer that great of a warranty. While sites like DK Oldies and Lukie Games might have, like a 3 to 4 month warranty on them. So anyways, you'll be sitting there and looking at these things and going, okay, do I buy from these guys? Do I not buy from these guys? And the truth of the matter is, it really depends on what you're buying. And you have to just do your research and do your due diligence to determine whether it's a good deal or whether it isn't. Like anything else, there's no such thing as one place where you're going to get the best deal on everything at any given time. On the one hand, if you're looking for those super popular, gotta have it type retro game titles that everybody and their dog is looking for, then yeah, you're going to way overpay at sites like DK Oldies, Lukie Games, or something comparable. As opposed to, say, eBay, local game shops, pawn shops, or other various sources. Thrift shops would be another one as well. Occasionally people make some real steals there. But anyways, so it really just depends on what it is that you're buying and making sure that you do your proper research and compare prices. Because I've had people who swear up and down that you'll never get a good deal at DK Oldies and you're always going to overspend. And I'm here to tell you, I've done enough research on all the various different venues to tell you that's not true. There are certain titles and certain genres where I've actually found DK Oldies had a better deal than anybody else I could find. And that was after checking like 8 or 9 different sources. So anyways, it really just depends on what you're buying. The super popular game titles, yeah, I agree. I would avoid the sites for that, unless you're just willing to throw away ridiculous amounts of money to get that additional guarantee. But in most cases, you're going to end up just throwing away money. You're not going to make it worth your while. So I'm just putting that out there. I would avoid them for those, super hot, gotta have it retro game titles that everybody's looking for. It's just really near impossible to find a good deal on those sites for those. Now, on the flip side, if somebody's looking for a cheap sports game title, whether you just be an avid sports game enthusiast, whether you're looking to complete a collection, or whether you're just looking for a cheap donor case, there's that option as well. Then I would say I would highly recommend looking at sites like DK Oldies and Lukie Games. Now, one of the pluses of DK Oldies that you're not going to get from sites like eBay and things like that is that if you only have to spend a minimum of $10 to get free shipping. And generally speaking, at any given time, you can easily find a 10% off coupon for a site like DK Oldies. Lukie Games, they have a $25 minimum for shipping. So I don't know, I found it a lot harder to make deals work for me when I'm looking with them, but once again, it really depends on what you're buying. Some people have found some great deals there, and they've found just enough titles to make it work to get that free shipping. So it really just does depend on, your circumstance and your situation and what you're looking at. So, but anyways, like cheap sports games, on average, to get a game from DK Oldies where the case is in just good to collector's condition, for gray carts on N64, I average just shy of $3.60 a cartridge by the time I factor in coupon codes and things like that. So anyways, in my opinion, that's worth it because every other website I've looked at, including eBay, by the time you factor in shipping and tax, you're paying like $5 to $6 for the cheapest title, which is basically about twice the price. And as well, you don't have the ability to have the condition verified. Because one of the things I did learn is that you can specify in your order comments that you request DK Oldies to send like collector's condition. And I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing with Lukie games. So anyways, for cheap sports games titles, they're great. The other one that I found where they're really good with the sites like DK Oldies and Lukie games are for the titles where they're not as high a demand, they're a lower demand, but they're harder to find. For example, like N64 games like maybe Cruisin' Exotica, which is probably the most rare of the Cruisin' series for racing games. I found a copy there that was cosmetically flawed. It had a little bit of a tear on the top of the label, but other than that, it's in great shape. It works great, looks great for the most part. And I found it for $35 after I finagled a coupon code and looking on there for cosmetically flawed. So the cheapest I found it anywhere else was going to run me between about $40 and $50 by the time I factored in things like tax and shipping. So I ended up getting it a bit cheaper than I would have found anywhere else. I found a similar thing for the game Donald Duck Going Quackers. Ended up getting that for $35, where the cheapest I can find it on any other website is between about $50 and $55 in any condition. So, and once again, it was one that had just a minor cosmetic flaw on the label. So, for things like that, I'm going to go ahead and say that yes, for those titles that aren't quite as hot, but have a lower supply where you're just not able to find them quite as easily, those are things where I would say that DK Oldies and Lukie Games and sites like that are actually a good deal. And I've gotten several games that way and gotten good deals on them because of that. So anyways, the truth of the matter is, and to wrap this up, is that if you're looking at sites like these, just research the titles you're looking at buying and determine what's a good deal and what isn't. Some things, they're so ridiculously overpriced, you're going to pay 40 to 50% more than anywhere else, and it's just not worth it in a lot of cases. But on the flip side, there are some genres and titles that you can find out there where you can actually get a better deal than any other place that you can find. So do your research, figure out what is the best deal for the title you're looking for, and then go from there. And that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.